Hello, my name is Don Walsh. I'm a retired U.S. Navy officer. Back in 1959, I became the first military commander of the Navy's new Bathyscaphe Trieste, and I also became its first pilot in the U.S. Navy. I was recruited into this job by Dr. Andy Rechnitzer, a freshly minted PhD marine biologist from Scripps Institution. At that time, he had become the manager of the Navy's Bathyscaphe Trieste program at the Naval Electronics Laboratory in San Diego, California. And I happened to meet Andy when the Navy sent out a call for volunteers, naval officer volunteers, to join the Trieste program at that Navy lab. And I put up my hand, and surprisingly, I was quite surprised to be chosen for the job. Now, Andy, the way the system worked was he was in charge of as chief scientist and program manager to decide what scientific missions we'd undertake with the Trieste. My job was to maintain and operate the manned submersible on behalf of the scientists. Now, Andy was quite the organizer and leader. I would say our spiritual leader for this whole thing. His interest in doing underwater science goes back to when he was a student at Scripps Institution, and he helped pioneer the use of scuba diving to take scientists inside the ocean to do useful scientific work. So, being in charge of an underwater submersible, deep diving submarine, if you will, that would take these same scientists deeper in the ocean and do a more unique and useful work was right up his alley. It was something he understood and loved to do. And working with Andy very closely for a couple, 3 years when I was with the program, I learned a lot about oceanography. And indeed, he became my mentor because at that time, I was a submarine officer in the Navy, but I had not had any formal training in ocean science. My background was in ocean engineering. And working with Andy, I learned by apprenticeship, if you will, learned by doing uh, what scientists could do in the ocean and what new techniques we could offer them by taking them down into the ocean with this deep submersible. And really, throughout my professional life and the time that I knew and worked with Andy, I always looked at him as being the mentor. He not only recruited me into the uh, world of oceanography, he helped facilitate my going even further, as I'll mention in a moment. Our little team of civilian and uniformed military personnel from the Navy Electronics Laboratory never really was more than about 14 people. And when we went out to Guam to do the deepest dive in the ocean with Trieste, and that was in 1960, 59 and 60, we worked very hard, but we had a mission. And sure enough, in January of 1960, we were able to dive the Trieste to the deepest place in the world ocean. And that was quite an achievement. We actually did what we promised, what we said we could do, and we did it on time and on budget. We didn't spend too much money doing it, a little team of ours, but we worked really hard. We worked like 7 days a week trying to make sure everything was going to work right. We did a lot of test dives, several test dives over a period of several months to make sure that the device, the bathyscaphe, was safe and could be used easily and productively by my scientists. Meanwhile, Andy went off and he served in industry. He helped North American Aviation develop a submersible system called Beaver, which was very efficient, very effective. He then he did he was with the Navy, a civil service, and he was an assistant to the oceanographer of the Navy, an admiral. He was sort of his principal scientific advisor, and he ended up doing many important jobs, some of which are so highly classified, secret, that you can't really talk about them even today, many years later. But I owe a lot to Andy. he got me started on this oceanography thing. So when I joined the Trieste, it wasn't just a job; it was a calling. Like, you know, I won't say religious, but we were just dedicated to the things we were doing, and it wasn't just a place to show up to work and then be there a couple of years and move on to something else. So I owe everything to my later years as an explorer and oceanographer to Dr. Andy Reknitzer. Thank you for watching.